Hello? Hi.
Hello.
Hey, buddy.
Hey,
Alright, let me get my video going.
I've got this VOD burner thing on.
Oh, looks like a lovely morning there.
It is.
Alright. Okay, I turned it on. Can you see me?
Yes.
I can't see you. I can't see myself. Okay, one thing is it's split screen, even though
Yeah.
you can't see split screen. It's one thing that confused me at first.
Okay. Well, all I see is 666 on your end.
Oh, okay. Give me a second here to figure out how to get that off. Oh, I think it's here.
Messing with us, or is that your logo?
Oh, yeah, that's my logo for my YouTube. Let me see.
I saw you for a second there. Now you've gone again.
Can you see me now?
Yes. So where are you based?
Nevada.
Nevada.
Yeah. Give you a look outside.
Oh.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
We're up in the mountains here.
Okay.
How are you doing, Mr. Fulford?
Fine.
That's good to hear.
So I'm hearing. Okay, Obama fired everybody from the cabal, and now they're out to kill Obama.
Well, I get visited the day after the election by the U.S. State Department,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a screenshot on two different tracking softwares. I'm in communication with them, if you can believe it or not. I mean, the day after the election, where are they going? They're coming to my website.
And what do they want to know?
Well, they want to, at my videos, actually. That's where they went to, and my videos page is now closed to, I'm trying to keep it just for members only at the website. And so they're interested in what I have to say, what I'm covering, evidently. I mean, it says it right there, U.S. State Department. If you do a drill down on the Google map, it goes right at the White House.
Sure.
And I have it documented, two different tracking softwares.
Mm.
And it's not the thing you want to fake. So, I don't know how you would, anyways. But so I would say that the president, even though Netanyahu is saying that it's a great relationship, I don't believe that. You have Mitt Romney, Ira Magaziner, Boston Consultancy Group, and Netanyahu all together, all on a super Zionist neocon agenda. And Obama's not playing ball. He's sympathetic to the Muslim interests, the Muslim Brotherhood, etc. I mean, he forgave that $1 billion loan to Egypt. This is the important thing to understand, I think. And of course, well, I hate to say it, but obviously he's under some threat. He has to be careful.
Yeah, well, you understand the Muslim Brotherhood was set up by the Nazis, right?
What do you mean, the Bush Nazis? The Prescott
Talking
Bush?
about World War II Nazis, like the real. They trained about 750,000 Egyptians during World War II, and then they were sent around to Saudi Arabia and other parts to promote this Wahhabism, radical sort of Islam, to make a boogeyman in the Middle East to justify invasions and stuff, and so you gotta read under the surface here.
All right, I have something to say to that. It's a really a standard point. But first up, I want to say that you're no longer moving.
Yeah, I noticed that. I can't figure that out.
I'm moving, it looks like.
All right. Okay, I just rebooted it. Now I'm moving. Okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah, but it's just like you can create Frankenstein. Doesn't mean you're going to control Frankenstein forever. I say it's out of their control at this point.
I think you're right on that. And certainly the scenario for World War III is definitely not happening. The Admiral Gawet, who was fired, was trying to start a false flag in the Persian Gulf to start the war, and he was stopped. General Dam of AFRICOM, similar thing. And also, this so-called Ambassador Stevens, my sources are telling me, as I've said before, he was one of the people responsible for the nuclear attack on Japan on 3/11, the seabed nuclear weapons set off the coast of Fukushima. And we pointed out where he was, and clearly he was deliberately put in a situation where he seemed to be in imminent danger. It was like a fish on, like a worm on a hook, to see who came out to bite. And those were the people who popped up, and then it led to Petraeus, who was offered the job of kind of dictator so long as he worked for the Bushes. Um, and that seems to be the game that was going on.
Well, talking with your partner, there's Stu Webb last night at length. He told me a lot.
He's not my partner. I don't even know him. But
I'm just joking. It's a joke. I'm trying to be.
I don't know who Stu Webb is. Anyway, go on.
Anyways, he's been doing the research on Daddy. That's what we call Bush Senior, Daddy. And that's how these people are. He was telling me this story back in the Falklands. Remember the Falklands War?
Yep.
Well, what he was saying is that Daddy sold the Argentinians the missile that they shot at an English vessel.
Sheffield. Yeah, no, it was stolen by the Nazis. That ship was not sunk; it was stolen.
So this is how they do it. They burn. They create dialectics, and then they burn the people that they supply with arms or support in one way or the other. And this is a vicious cycle. Now, Daddy Bush is in a wheelchair. He's allegedly suffering from Parkinson's right now, so he's in and out. It seems like Jeb Bush is taking over right now. And this may have been reflected in Florida's results, because if you look at the polls in the election, Florida was decidedly more than leaning toward. He had like a 10-point lead in Florida. And then you saw how close it was in Florida in the end. So I think Jeb Bush is the factor going forward.
Well, out in this part of the world, the people who are upset at Romney's loss are Koizumi, the former prime minister, and Nakasone, the former prime minister, and their North Korean buddies who run the amphetamine business in this part of the world. Now, I've been telling them that if Japan legalizes marijuana, they can set that up as a legal franchise and earn lots of money that way and finance themselves that way, because the rest of the Yakuza are opposed to hard drugs like amphetamines and cocaine and stuff. So I'm trying to convince them, okay, we'll legalize marijuana and maybe cocoa tea, and turn that into your new money machine, so that all these dangerous people, won't be suddenly bankrupted, and therefore they won't be motivated to do something dangerous on this part of the world.
Well, I would just agree with that and go further and actually just legalize through like a prescription of the cocaine and the heroin, because if you defund the CIA's budget, so it has to go to Congress to get authorization to do all of its stuff, then you've just taken one animal out of play. And then the next is this whole oil monopoly, this energy monopoly. You take that out of play, and then you've already set what you've done is taken the legs out from the Middle East terrorism, because they're going to be, they have no money. Those regimes are going to be defunded. And
look, I mean, oil is I once did the math, and the top 20 oil companies alone do $350 trillion of business a year. You don't just pull the plug on something like that. You have to, phase it into something new, so that they keep making that money and more, but we stop using oil as an energy source and give them different lines of business,
Right.
But you can't just suddenly put out the free energy and expect those guys to just, give up on $350 trillion a year.
They're not going.
No, they're not just gonna. Oh, okay, I'll give up all that, and all our families and all these countries will be left in the lurch. You have to arrange a smooth transition. The Saudis understand that, and they're on the program now. They
Well, they're diversified too.
They want to turn. Look, they can turn their desert green with the new technology, and it's rather have a green country, that they can ride horses through than to use petrodollars to shop for Louis Vuitton bags in an air-conditioned shopping center.
Absolutely. And of course, this islands dispute is all about the energy resources
No,
that.
it's not. That's BS. Okay, we have this guy called Jean Cohen from the Hoche Group, a French, you know, one of the elders of Zion, paying the Chinese 1,200 yuan a day to start anti-Japanese riots. And then you have Lord James Sassoon paying a bunch of Japanese right-wingers to, stage provocations on the islands so that the Chinese and the Japanese don't get together and say, hey, why don't we just be friendly and you know, uh, have a good time together. And that's the last thing they want. They want everybody fighting each other so they can keep controlling them. They can keep selling their weapons and. But I think they figure that out now.
Well, like we conversed, back and forth several months ago, all the gold in the 1930s coming out of Japan and China headed to San Francisco and onto the New York Fed. Now that's documented. I've documented that looking at old newspaper clippings and stuff like that gave you a monthly breakdown of the gold coming out of China.
Yeah, no, I know about that. But the fact of the matter is that despite all this talk of gold, okay, I haven't seen any proof of it anymore. All I know for sure is that, um, I've talked to people who spent 20 years in the Philippines looking for gold and found maybe a ton altogether. Um, and I hear these stories, these incredible stories of mile-long caves filled with gold, and I have yet to see a photograph of it. Um, the most I've seen is 300 kilos. I think the gold long ago ended up in Swiss bank vaults, okay?
Yeah, probably.
I
And
mean,
something that you pointed out was, and it's a touchy spot detail-wise, is that the agreement is there at Green Helton to do things. But I think you said that none of the gold actually got transferred. Is that what you said?
well, what I'm saying is that no, I mean I thought the gold was transferred and then it ran out by 1971, which is why Nixon went to the oil standard and away from the gold standard. Um,
Maybe that's Drake that said that then. Somebody told me that they pointed out that the gold it had been agreed to, all the structure and
well,
everything like.
a member of the Rockefeller family once told me that um, we didn't get all the gold they promised, so we don't have to pay back all the money they expect us to. Something like that.
Oh, okay.
So they're saying, okay, we got some, but we didn't get everything you said you sent us. So we don't owe you as much as you say we owe you.
Okay. Now, again, there's a fuel cell technology that's being worked on in the Scandinavian countries with Japanese companies right now. That I follow the palladium, platinum group metals type thing, and so I've been understanding that there's these fuel cell vehicles that they're working on. The Japanese car manufacturers and some techs in the Scandinavian countries and stuff like that, Finland, this type of thing. And so that's coming down the road. They're working on that because the electric vehicles are having problems. The refueling distances, you can't go any distance on an
Yeah, I
electric
don't
car.
believe that. I think that there's just sabotage. Um,
Well,
but in any case, my proposition has been is to let cars run on oil for now, and use the new technology for things that oil can't do, like turn deserts green. And that's how you could phase in the new technology gradually.
and of course, living in Southeast Asia as many years as I have, I've seen, the different NGV, natural gas vehicles, or LPG, the different gas vehicles that they have running right now. Taxis,
Mm-hmm.
buses, uh, they retrofit personal vehicles, passenger vehicles to run an NGV, etc. So that's,
It's
very
gonna happen.
doable.
It's gonna happen. It's just gonna
Yeah.
happen uh, over like many years, not just all at once. You don't want to have a total social collapse. It's like anything. You got to make sure. Hold on. Okay. You got to make sure that you have the new shirt in your hand before you take the old one off and all that kind of stuff. But you know, there's just so much of the social infrastructure that is linked to oil and banking that you have to, if you want to liberate people from that, it has to be done in careful steps so you don't have a collapse of society.
So we're talking about new currency banking system away from this Federal Reserve thing, take it away from them, however, a new energy system, and then of course a new outlook on, controlled substances because it's been abused. If you're going to have the CIA running the drugs unmolested into countries, and just so they can get funding for their different covert actions, you got to stop that. So we're through the truth movement, we're identifying all this stuff. And then the fourth thing is the health matters. If you're going to be giving people water that's got chloramine and chlorine and fluoride and etc. additives to it that are detrimental to the health, then you need to stop precipitating, illnesses in people. And just the rise in cancer. It used to be in this country, people would live, if they made it past their formative years, the infant mortality rate. When they got over through that barrier, people would live to 80 years old, without a lot of
healthcare.
100
years ago, only 1 out of 20 people in the U.S. died of cancer. Now it's 1 out of 3.
And the children are getting it.
Yeah, no, they did. The Egyptian mummies, they have thousands and thousands of them, and none of them have cancer. No, this is the medical mafia is a huge topic, and essentially the fundamental problem is that the more people get sick, the more money they make. So there's a conflict of interest between the patients and the medical industry, and the way to change that is to rejig the insurance system so that the medical industry makes money as people get healthy, and then instead of having it now where they're only allowed to make medicines to fix sickness, you can have medicine that'll make you smarter, stronger, better, Viagra is sort of a small step in that direction. And maybe, legal highs that aren't bad for you, so that they can have something to do with all their chemists and all their facilities other than make people sick,
Yeah, okay, that's a good idea. In Japan, is it similar to how it is in other countries in the Orient where you don't need a doctor's prescription for, let's say, tetracycline or, some common, things that you would go for, like birth control pills or,
No, you understand, medicinary was always a guild, not a science. And the guild protects its own, and they have that guild here, and so they do control it. And some of that we're going to have to deal with because it's better than the U.S. overall, but we definitely have some rot to remove from the system on this end too, especially the cancer stuff, radiation, all that kind of unnecessary torment.
Yeah, so then we're boiling it down to the dealing with the human and the trying to fix what the good books couldn't fix. Is this?
Well, look, yeah. Here's the point, and before we end this conversation, is that we're headed into uncharted territory. We need to be very careful, and we need to make sure that we don't have. We need to make sure that we're no longer controlled by vicious mafiosis. Sophisticated, gentlemen mafia will always be part of the world, but not common thugs who just torture and kill and cause trouble, So we gotta still have a bit of a fight on our hands. I've heard that there is an active effort right now to assassinate Obama. By the military types, and I am of the view that you solve things through debate, not assassination, and killing him would definitely trigger some kind of a civil war type situation. It's just not a good idea. On the other hand, we have all these dangerous people, the Nazis, and we need to make sure that the moderates in that group are shown the path to the free energy and all the new wonderful stuff that's going to come, So they understand they're going to be way better off than they are now, which what they've been doing is basically killing the goose that lays the golden egg, and they've taken so much from the American people, there's not much left to take. So, something has to be done. Anyway, we're heading for some interesting times. Everybody has to be alert and aware, but just don't let them start, getting all killing each other and fighting each other. That's what they want. That's what we must avoid. It's make love, not war. That's our motto. Okay? Thanks.
Yes, sir.
All right, bye. I'm going to see how this recording worked.
Okay. Let me know if you need any help with the rendering or whatever.
Yeah, okay. Thanks.